Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this session. Today we are looking at the opportunities that IBPS PO 2021, the notification brings to us. Now, I believe this is a good time for any banking aspirant, as you know, a lot of posts have come up in IBPS PO, and also with SBI PO exam round the corner, and with IBPS clerk, this is definitely a good time to be an aspirant. Now we believe IBPS PO is a great opportunity going forward because the number of vacancies that have come up has really shows that you have a very good chance of making it to your dream banking career. We'll look at in today's session. We'll look at what this notification is all about. What are the kind of vacancies that you have? What is the exam pattern? We'll also look at what kind of preparation tips that you need to do, and also look at the study plan and the strategy going forward. Now, students, as you understand, any banking exam is definitely a hard nut to crack, specifically because you understand that there are situations that a lot of students apply for these exams, and you need to have a very good clear-cut study plan, and also you should have a predefined strategy how you will going to focus on the exam. So our session today essentially would be looking at all of these aspects, and we'll try and cover the main reasons and ideas. We'll share the ideas as to how you can crack this exam. So let's start with this. Now, what are we going to cover in this session today? So let's look at it. We'll look at the notification details. We'll look at the vacancies that we have. We'll also have a look at the exam pattern. We'll look at the basic strategies, the study plan, and all of these things would be covered. Now, if we now, if you look at the important dates, as the notification has just recently come up on 19th of October, so you can expect a lot of application being made from 20th October onwards, and the last date to apply is 10th of November. So if you haven't applied till yet, you're looking forward to apply to it. I think you should definitely go ahead and do it, because then Diwali vacation will come and you will get busy with festivities. So I think it's a right time to apply for this exam. You can pay your application fees and intimation charges that can be paid online. Again, the window is from 20th October to 10th of November. The call letters for the preliminary exams will be downloaded sometime in November. They will notify you. The online exam is scheduled in December, first week of December, and also on 4th December and on 11th December. You can expect result of a preliminary exam to come anywhere in last of December or January first week. Then if you look at once the prelims exams is done with, and if you happen to clear it, you can download the call letter for the main exam in December or January. Then online main exam is scheduled to be in January. The dates are still not out. The declaration of the result you can expect by February, and then there would be an interview. As you know, all probationary officer post requires you to clear the interview hurdle as well. So interview you can expect anytime in February. Interview would be conducted generally in February or March, and the allotment would historically has been coming on 1st of April. So you can expect in 2022 on 1st of April or 2nd of April, you can expect your final selection. Now let's also look at what are the banks which are participating in this IBPS PO exam. So there is Bank of Baroda, then there is Bank of India, Bank of Maharashtra is there, Canara Bank, then you have Central Bank of India, Indian Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, Punjab National Bank, Punjab and Sindh Bank, UCO Bank, right? And also Union Bank of India. So all of these 11 banks are participating in IBPS PO vacancies this time. And if you look at the kind of vacancies that every bank has declared, student, it is very heartening to know already 4,135 vacancies have been declared, but still Bank of Baroda and Punjab National Bank, which are two of the largest bank in India, they haven't reported their vacancies as of now. So it is expected that they will also put in their vacancies, and this figure likely is gonna go up around 5,000 vacancies. So there is a lot of opportunity. So if you look at various banks, how many they have applied. So as of now, Union Bank of India has given the maximum vacancies, that is 912, followed by Canara Bank, which gives around 650, and Central Bank of India around 620. So all of this is a great opportunity, and still there are Punjab National Bank and Bank of Baroda and also Indian Bank. They have still to report their vacancies. So we believe that once these vacancies also come up, so the number should be ideally be 5,000 plus. And 5,000 plus is a good number of vacancies you are expecting this year. So you have a great chance of making it to the IBPS PO. Now, if you look at the eligibility criteria for IBPS PO, or as we call management training, age limit. So first is the age criteria. So as on 1st of October 2021, that is the cutoff date that they have given. You should be minimum of 20 years and maximum of 30 years. So if you have completed your 20 years on or before 1st of October 2021, and you are not over 30 years by that date, then probably you can apply to that exam. If you look at the education qualification, for education qualification, they have given the cutoff date as 10th of November 2021. Now, IBPS PO requires you to have a degree or graduation in any discipline. So important is any discipline. So you can be a commerce graduate, you can be a science graduate, you can be any if you have done your graduation from any recognized university, or any such university which is recognized by the central government, you can apply for this exam. All you need to have is your graduation done by 10th of November 2021. Now, you need to have a valid mark sheet or a degree certificate, because once you start registering for IBPS PO, they will ask you to indicate the percentage of marks obtained. So your graduation should have been done with, your result should have been declared, you should have a valid mark sheet or a degree certificate that ensures that you are a graduate now. So appearing graduates won't be able to give this exam, but students who have completed their graduation, have received the result and got their mark sheet and degree certificate in place, they can definitely write this exam. Now we look at the selection process and the exam pattern of IBPS PO. Now this is very essential, because going forward you need to understand what is the kind of selection process that they have. So generally, like all other PO exams, they have three phases. Phase one is preliminary exam, which is mostly a screening exam. So a lot of people will apply. So they will, depending on the vacancies, approximately 10 times of the number of vacancies, they call for the mains exam. So first phase would be preliminary exam, which is a MCQ objective based exam. The level of difficulty is easy, but it is more of a speed and accuracy based exam. Then you move to the, once you clear your prelims exam, you move to the phase two, which is the mains exam. And there you will have an objective and a descriptive paper. For PO, you will have a descriptive paper also. We'll discuss the descriptive paper, but descriptive paper is generally about writing a essay and a letter. We'll discuss that about later. Then once you clear your mains exam, then the phase three would be interview. So IBPS PO, post for IBPS PO requires you to go through an interview process where they will interact with you. They'll try and understand what kind of personality you are and are you the right fit for the bank or not. So basically three phases would be involved, and you have to clear all the three phases. Now, if you look at the selection process, which is almost similar for IBPS and SBI PO, it's a two-tier exam, prelims and mains. Based on the performance in the prelims exam, so there is a cutoff that you need to clear. Certain number of candidates, generally it is 10 times the number of vacancies, they will be shortlisted for mains. Uh, Obviously, there would be fear, the number of questions would be lesser in prelims exam with lesser duration. So it is mostly a screening exam. So there would be number of questions would be lesser. The time duration would also be lesser. It's generally 1 hour. And the marks obtained in the prelim exam will not be considered for making the finals, which means suppose the cutoff for the prelims exam goes around 60 and you happen to score 90 out of 100. This 30 marks advantage that you get over somebody, that won't be considered in for making the finalist, as prelims exams is just a screening exam, so it's just for the selection of students for the mains exam. So it will not be considered in the final merit list. So if you look at the time gap between prelims and the mains exams, it is generally 15 to 20 days. So a lot of students have this notion that, oh, we'll prepare for prelims first and we'll look at the mains afterwards. I think that's not the right strategy. If you are a serious aspirant, if you have written exams before or you have not written exams before, it makes a lot of sense to prepare for prelims, give a lot of marks for prelims, but at the same time also look at the mains pattern. Because ultimately the 15-20 days windows that you will get between your prelims and mains exam, that will be consumed mainly in studying general awareness section, and also you need to have a basic orientation of what kind of difficulty level the mains exam present to you. It should not come as a surprise, because 15 to 20 days are pretty less to prepare holistically for mains, so you need to prepare beforehand. Yeah, so this is what I meant. Your preparation for mains should be done along with the preparation for prelims, because that is most important. Now, if you look at the exam pattern for prelims exam, if you look at the exam pattern, you would see that there would be three sections: English language, quantitative aptitude, which is maths, and reasoning ability. So in English section, you will have 30 questions, 1 mark for every question, and the duration would be 20 minutes. So you will have, definitely you will have a sectional timing for each section. So you cannot afford to spend all your 60 minutes on one section or two section. Has to be distributed equally between three areas. So 20 minutes for English, 30 questions, 30 marks. Same quantitative aptitude and reasoning ability, both will have 35 questions each, and each question carries 1 mark. These questions are pretty simple to answer. This is not a tough exam. This is more of a speed based, and the skill set required is you need to be up to your mark on every time, because 20 minutes is pretty less and you just have to maximize your attempts. So you have to prepare accordingly. So this requires a lot of giving a lot of mocks and a lot of practice with speed based thing in mind. There would be minimum cutoff for in each test area, so you need to clear a minimum cutoff in each section. It cannot be happen that you might score very well in English but you don't clear the cutoff in quantitative aptitude. Even if your overall cutoff is clear, you won't be considered for the mains exam. So you need to have sectional cutoffs clear, that is prerequisite, and also you need to have your overall cutoffs clear. If we look at the IBPS PO main exam pattern, so there would be now one more section would be added, which is general economy or banking awareness section. So if you look at the reasoning and computer aptitude, generally 45 questions are asked and the marks allotted is 60, which means there would be a few questions which will be of 2 marks. And those questions definitely would be a little more difficult questions, but if you happen to score those questions, then you will get 2 marks in one go. So again, here you will have your sectional timings in place. So for reasoning section, for 45 questions, 60 marks, the time duration would be given would be 1 hour, 60 minutes. Then you will have a general economy or banking awareness section wherein you will have 40 minutes, 40 questions, and 35 minutes. So generally, this section doesn't take 35 minutes to complete, because either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. You don't have to work anything out. You just have to read the question and see if you know the answer, mark it, or else move to the next question. Coming to the English section, again you see there would be 35 questions, 40 marks. So there would be some questions which are of 2 marks, and the duration given is 40 minutes. And you have to abide by the sectional timing. So you have to practice accordingly. It is very important for you to practice in that time frame and write mocks accordingly. Then you will have a data analysis and interpretation. So this section is essentially quants, but here the data interpretation carries a lot of weightage. So this section is called here as data analysis and interpretation. So in this section, if you look at, you have 35 questions, the marks allotted are 60. Now this becomes really a game changer at 9, because there would be many questions which will be of 2 marks. If you happen to score those 2 marks question, your overall cutoff will improve, and also your sectional cutoff in data analysis and interpretation will also be clear. And the time allotted is 45 minutes. So this is a basic idea about the different sections and the sectional timings that we need to take care of while writing the exam. The total number of questions in the mains exam comes to around 155, and the marks is 200. The time is 3 hours. So you need to understand the difference between a 1 hour exam, which is a prelims exam, and a 3 hour exam, which is a mains exam. And considering that you need to build your stamina accordingly. So giving a prelim exam for 1 hour is a totally different game, and giving a mains exam for 3 hours is totally different game. So you need to have your minimum sectional and minimum overall score required for shortlisting of interview. So once you give your mains exam, you have to keep in mind that your sectional cutoffs and overall cutoff should be clear. Once you have marks obtained in the mains exam, will only be considered for shortlisting for interview and final merit listing. See, what happens is prelims marks are not carried forward, but the marks obtained in the mains exam, if you happen, suppose the cutoff in the mains exam goes around 80 and you happen to score around 100, so you have an advantage, a cushion of 20 marks going forward, and that becomes very important in your final merit list. So even if your interview doesn't go according to your liking, still you can score enough so that your overall cutoff gets cleared. So student, it becomes imperative to score very well in mains exam. In prelims exam, even if you clear the cutoff by just 1 marks, it doesn't matter much. But in mains exam, if you happen to clear a cutoff by a good margin, then that really places you well for the final merit list. Obviously, there is negative marking, so there would be penalty for wrong answers. It is applicable in both preliminary and mains exam. Generally, the marking scheme is such that any wrong answer that you give, any negative marking that will happen, would be 0.25 of the marks assigned to the question. What does this mean? So in prelims exam, as you know, all questions are of 1 mark. So you would be getting a negative 0.25 for every wrong answer. But in mains exam, there might be a question which is of 2 marks. So since the reward is also you are getting 2 marks, so the penalty or the negative marking, that will be 0.25, 25% of the 2 marks, which is 0.5. So you have to be careful with your guesswork. You cannot take a random guess at two number question, because the negative side of it would really cost you a lot. Yeah, if you leave a question unanswered, if you don't answer a question, if you leave a blank, if you leave it blank, there would be no penalty. So there is no negative marking for unattempted questions, right? So even if you don't know an answer, it is good that you leave it rather than blindly guessing it, because it will create a negative impact on your overall score. Right. Then we look at the descriptive test. Now, once this prelims and the mains happen, right after your mains exam, they would be conducting a descriptive test. This test is generally of 30 minutes and it carries 25 marks weightage. So it happens immediately after completion of objective test, and you would be given a letter to write, and you will be given some choices between the letters. So letters are generally formal letters and informal letters. Informal letters are those which you write to your relatives or your friends, and formal letters you write to some authority or to some organization. So you will be given some choices between the letters. So what are they looking at in your letter writing skills is the format that you follow, the right format. A formal letter would have a different format, and an informal letter would have a different format. There would be salutation, there would be subject, there would be body of the letter, the introduction of the letter, completing the letter, and then finally how you end the letter. Similarly, you would also be given some choices of the essays. So you have to choose one essay and write. Generally, this is around 200 words that you have to write the essay. Generally, you have to type it, and 30 minutes is the total duration for writing of both of these things. Students, many aspirants make this mistake of not practicing descriptive tests. They believe that they'll go and write something and it will be the end of it. But descriptive test also plays a very important role, because the marks that you get in descriptive test can help you, going forward for your final merit list, because these are the marks that are counted towards the final merit list. So you need to be very careful that you don't get complacent and don't end up not practicing these descriptive writing. So you need to, once you have cleared your prelims exam, you have a 15, 20, 30 days window. Make sure you give this descriptive test almost every day, so that you are in a habit of, forming opinions and writing the kind of format that you want to write, looking at all the punctuation marks and the vocabulary, and also the spelling mistakes. All of those things, the format is essential, right? So you need to practice this, and you need to be in a habit of writing letters and essays going forward for this exam. So their kinds are required to. So if you don't qualify in the descriptive test, then it becomes very important for it becomes very difficult for them to evaluate for you for the further selection. So descriptive test would be evaluated for only those students who have cleared the qualifying marks in the mains exam. So somebody who has not cleared the mains exams marks, then his descriptive would definitely become irrelevant, but somebody who's cleared the mains exam, his descriptive test, you would need to clear that. So you don't want to be in a situation where you have cleared the difficult exam, the mains exam, but you happen to not qualify your descriptive. So it is very important that you go in tandem and you just practice this descriptive test essentially. Now, if we look at if you shed some light on the topic-wise breakup and the preparation strategy that you need to have going forward. See, if you look at the reasoning and the prelims and the mains exams of reasoning, and if you can have just an idea about the different kind of topics that you may have and the kind of weightage that they carry in those exams. Now, in the prelims exam, puzzles generally you have 15 to 25 questions. Mains exam, obviously the questions are more, so you have 18 to 25 questions of puzzles. Blood relation is an easier topic, similarly like direction sense, and you can expect around 2 to 5 questions in prelims and mains exam. Similarly, symbols and notation, again, it's an easy topic, so generally it appears in prelims and doesn't appear in mains as much. Coding, decoding, again, it's an easy topic. You would see 3 to 5 questions in prelims and 0 to 3 questions in mains. Syllogism, again, deductions is a simple topic. Again, it will appear in prelims. Now, input, output, data sufficiency, and critical reasoning. These are the topics generally which are not seen in the prelim because this is time taking. Input, output requires you to, have a clear cut idea of what is happening in the question. So it takes time. So that is generally kept for the mains exam. But don't be surprised if you find, 1 or 2 questions in prelims exam also. So you need to prepare all of these topics, keeping in mind the fact that generally it is asked in the mains exam. The topics are input, output, data sufficiency, and critical reasoning. Critical reasoning essentially requires you to read lot of stuff and then answer it. So obviously prelims, it is very difficult that it will appear in prelims. But generally in mains, this can be a critical factor because generally these questions carry 2 marks each. So if you happen to answer these correctly or answer it wrongly, either ways, it can be a game changer for you. If you happen to answer them correctly, your marks definitely would go up, not just in the reasoning section, but also overall. So if we look at, just can summarize these things and see what topics are important for both prelims and mains. So puzzles, coding, decoding, input, output, deductions. These are topics which you can see appearing in both prelims and mains. Generally, these topics appear in both the phases of the exam. There are topics which appear only in the prelims exams like symbol and notation, blood relation, direction. And these are easier topics. These are not difficult topics to master. So these generally will appear in prelims. And then there are, like we said, some topics which will appear only in the mains exam. Like we said, they can be asked in prelim, but the difficulty level will be less. It will not be so painstaking. So generally, you can expect data sufficiency, critical reasoning, and decision making, all of these topics to appear in the mains exam. So what should be a strategy going forward? How should you approach the reasoning section of IBPS PO? Now, there should be a right order. You should follow a right order. And this order is just a suggestive measure, right? Like we have seen for a lot of students, our experience shows that this should be the right order. But obviously, you can chop and change according to your skill set, according to your analysis of your understanding of the topic. So the R order, prescribed order is like this. Like we believe you should attempt analytical reasoning first, which includes coding, decoding, direction sense, and blood relation. These are easier topics to attempt, and you can score, heavily in this. Then comes to symbol notations and inequalities, input, output, decision making. All of these are important for mains, but should be attempted later on. Deduction, syllogism, followed by deduction, syllogism. Puzzles are something that they're high risk, high return thing. So if you happen to solve puzzle, you're good at puzzles, you should keep it somewhere in the middle, so that when you committing to a puzzle, then make sure you complete it and move forward. Then data sufficiency and critical reasoning, again these are topics important for mains, and they should be kept for the later stage, because this will include lot of number crunching. It will lot of time taking, so these should be attempted at last. And lastly, non-verbal reasoning. Generally non-verbal reasoning has not appeared for some time in banking exams, but again it's part of the curriculum. You can it has not been asked, so you can expect it will not come, but still you should never leave anything to chance. Yeah, so one important don't is, do not start with critical reasoning questions. See, these questions will take a lot of your attention. They will take a lot of your skill set to get it right, and you don't want to get involved into something which doesn't give you confidence going forward. You need to have a momentum in these exams. So do not start with critical reasoning questions. Even if you have to attempt these questions, make sure you attempt them at last. You should always attempt set-based question in your first round. So what does it mean? So that you get like 3 to 4 questions in one set. So you solve a set and you get 3 4 more questions. Then the important topics obviously are coding, decoding, blood relations. As we have seen over the years, analyzed a lot of paper exams of banking, and we have understood that these are the topics which generally appear a lot: coding, decoding, blood relations, symbol notation, direction sense, analytical puzzle, deduction, input output. These are the topics you cannot afford to leave out. Not for prelims, not for mains, because these are essentially the backbone of reasoning exam. Then you will see that critical reasoning questions would sometimes be given more weightage and sometimes less, and same applies to puzzles. If it's a difficult puzzle, it might be given more weightage. If you focus on critical reasoning, there are some important chapters which you should focus in critical reasoning, which are generally banking examiner's choice, which they'll include questions from. The questions on assumptions, conclusion, inferences, strong and weak arguments, and courses of action. These are essentially important chapters for critical reasoning, and you should ensure, if you are preparing for critical reasoning well, these chapters should definitely be dealt with. Right, but again, critical reasoning is one thing which I would suggest, in my personal opinion, should attempt at last. Make sure you have cleared the cutoff and you still have some time remaining and you're not able to attempt anything else. Then go to critical reasoning, because definitely they can help you score lot of marks, but at the same time it will take a lot of time. If you look at preparation for reasoning ability, logical reasoning ability section, you need to have very good logical skills that you can build on. Reasoning is very much the thing which you get it from practice. If you do a lot of reasoning questions, you can definitely build your orientation towards it. Obviously, it requires you to understand the problem and implement the given instruction. Like, for example, coding, decoding, input, output, symbol notation. All of these require you to analyze what has been given to you and how you can, implement those instructions and then get it done. Then you have analytical puzzles. Generally, analytical puzzles becomes essentially important because 50 to 60% of the total number of questions, like you saw in prelims and also in mains exam, come from this. So you need to prepare your puzzles well. You need to do various types of puzzles, and you need to ensure that all the types are covered. You need to have good analysis of the logical clues that have been given to you and how you can utilize to solve those puzzles. Different kind, obviously, like I said, practicing different kinds of puzzle, selection, distribution, arrangements, all of these different kinds of puzzle, when you solve, then you will realize that you can have good confidence going forward. Then topics like coding, decoding, input, output, all of these topics are, you have to identify the logic, which is not mentioned. You have to have a flair for these topics. You need to have done a lot of questions on these topics so that you can find out what is the logic behind it and how I can, solve these questions. So, like I said, different logics, you have to solve a lot of questions. Only then you can be pretty sure that you are in that frame of mind that any logic that comes along, you can deal with this. So, like direction sense and blood relation are a very important question from prelims point of view. So you need to have good understanding of basic concepts of directions, how many directions are there, and what does the instructions given in the question, what does it mean? Same applies to blood relation. Inequalities, symbol notation, it's generally easy because you have been given everything explicitly. All you have to do is apply those things. Here, actually, the effort is to not make mistakes, because a student might get complacent and say, oh, this is easy, I can attempt all of them, but you need to be a little careful while answering those questions, because in a haste you can make your negative marks. So you have to ensure that you do not make mistake, because it's a scoring area. Everybody scores here, so you need to ensure that you get these marks surely. Then critical reasoning, again, it requires a lot of good language skills as well, because there would be a topic given to you which will be like a small RC passage, reading comprehension passage. You need to assimilate the information, you need to understand the passage, and then see what kind of logical conclusion or the inference or assumption that you can draw from that. Yeah, so here the problem is also with the answer choices, because answer choices won't be in terms of values or numbers. It would be more very same answer choices, very close answer choices. So you need to be very meticulous in terms of identifying the right answer choices. Generally, it happens in critical reasoning. We have seen student always kind of eliminates most of the options. They're left with two options and they are not sure about those options. So you need to be very meticulous in your preparation, understanding the reasoning and the logic behind the given passage, and then attempt it. Yeah, so there have been some new question types that have been introduced in reasoning ability. This gives you a snapshot of those. You can check out previous year question papers of IBPS PO 2020 and 2019, and you will see what kind of new questions have appeared in reasoning ability. Like we have mentioned some of these questions, like 12%, 6 months, 2 days, based on numbers of letters in the name, born on odd or even number date. So reasoning question can be formed in any way, right? So they can give you any number of variables, and you have to identify which variable is pointing towards what. Then there were some questions regarding 6% and 6 dates, then 8% three designation, and quant based reasoning, kind of even and odd age based. Then you have also new question types in linear arrangement, where you had 12%, 7 houses, and you were given choices like at least one and at most three in each house. So you have at least one, you need to decipher what is at least one. So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4. At most three means you can have maximum of three. So all of these data sufficiency, again, three data sufficiency came with three statement type questions. Then also in IBPS PO 2019, there were some few new questions, 13 boxes in alphabetical order from top to bottom with toffees. Then you had circular arrangement with 7% and people not sitting in adjacent position, alphabetical order, their ages. So these all question types, if you prepare with us with time, you are rest assured that all of these would be covered in our handouts, in our material, because our material is updated always. So you have to ensure that whatever material you are choosing to solve questions, you cannot have outdated material to give you laurels in the coming exam, because the banking exam has been going to a lot of shift and churning is happening. So you need to be pretty sure about the right kind of material you have at your disposal. You need to ensure that all the new question types have been inscribed in it. If they have not been, then you are kind of missing out on something. So we believe that that is the kind of preparation, the kind of detailed analysis of kind of exam that is IBPS PO is. You need to have a careful understanding of what is the new question type that have appeared. Now, if you look at Quant and DI for IBPS PO, prelims and main exam, so generally prelims you would see questions on quadratic comparison, simplification, approximation. Anybody who has given an exam would know what I'm talking about, series, right? Generally, quadratic comparison, simplification, approximation, they appear only in the prelims. You won't see in the mains exam, at least in IBPS PO. In RRB PO, yes, you can see, but in IBPS PO, you won't see them in the mains exam. Series, generally prelims, you will also see in mains. Obviously, in mains, there would be wrong number series, which is a little more difficult to answer as compared to missing number series. Then you will have individual quants question, which are arithmetic question primarily. So you would have word problems. In prelims, generally, they would be more 10 to 13. In mains, you would see anywhere between 5 to 10 or 12. Then match the column. Again, it's a thing that appears generally in mains exam. Then if you look at data interpretation, now data interpretation in prelims exam, you would see around 2 to 3 sets, around 12 to 18 questions. But in mains exam, the kind of data interpretation that has been appearing for last 2-3 years is definitely of top-notch quality. You are getting, missing data interpretation questions. You're getting topic based. You're getting caselets. You're getting graphs, which are, and there is a funnel graph. There is a 2 or 3 pie charts in one question. You have a mixed graph. Then you get some network 3D web-based graph. Then you're getting a lot of question on Venn diagrams and caselets. So all of these things have really improved in terms of the toughness of the paper. So data interpretation in mains exam becomes imperative. If you are preparing for data in quant section for the mains, data interpretation is the area that you need to master. If you happen to master this, you would get a lot of good marks, because there would be some question which will be of 2 marks in data interpretation, and that can help you push your overall cutoff as well as help you to clear your individual cutoff of data interpretation section. Then obviously data sufficiency and data comparison. Again, data comparison is something that has started appearing in last 2-3 years. So data comparison also you would see in the mains exam. This time around in RRB PO, I heard from some of the students that it appeared in the prelims exams also, 1 or 2 questions, but they are definitely easier level questions. But data sufficiency and data comparison definitely is a mains topic. Generally, they won't appear in prelims exam. So if you can summarize the topics for quants in SBI and IBPS PO, you would see there are topics like series, DI, arithmetic topics, which are equation, ratio, proportion, variation, profit and percentages, profit loss percentages, time work, time and distance, geometry, mensuration, averages. All of these topics will appear both in prelims and in mains. Simplification and approximation and quadratic comparison, like we said, they generally do not come in mains exam. Obviously, you cannot neglect them for mains exam, but generally they will not appear because these are easier questions. These are questions which are speed based, so they would have it in the first phase, which is the screening phase. They would generally not have it in the main stage. There are some topics which are important for mains only. Now, like I said, data sufficiency, data comparison, quant based DI. Now, quant based DI is a whole plethora of problems, because you would have a time and work based DI, you would have a time and distance DI, you would have a averages allegation DI, you can have a probability based DI, you can have a simple interest, compound interest based DI, partnership DI. You can have a lot of questions on this, and I think that is the kind of thing that has been introduced by SBI PO in 2017. So since 2017, the level of paper have definitely gone up, and I think this is a good thing, because it is asking students to prepare on a better level. Yeah? So I think this is much required. Now, if you look at the strategy and the tips for quants and DI section, so very important is simplification, approximation, missing number series. Like I said, missing number series is definitely easier as compared to wrong number series, right? Then you have quadratic comparison. You have to ensure that you answer only the easier one. So quadratic comparison, generally you will have 5 questions, and generally 2 to 3 questions are easy and 2 questions are tough. So you need to be very careful that even if you can attempt those questions, but if they are going to take time, then it is not worth it, because you only have 20 minutes in the prelims exam for one section, like for any other section. So you need to ensure that you end up attempting a lot more questions, because every question carries same marks. So there is no differential marking. So you have to ensure that you answer those questions which you can answer in quick time, right? Then there would be individual quants questions. So many students are wary of the thing that, oh sir, we won't be able to attempt arithmetic questions in prelims exam. But I always believe there are arithmetic questions which are easier to do than even series, even quadratic comparison, some of the quadratic comparison. So if you have the right strategy in place, if you have your shortcut worked out, if you have a good concept knowledge, I think this arithmetic questions you can attempt out of 10, you can definitely attempt 6 to 7. Only then you would hope to get very near to 30 or 35 attempts. If you look at data sufficiency and data comparison, obviously these are important for mains. Now, you have to be very careful what kind of sets you select in DI in mains exam. Especially in prelims exam, obviously you don't have much time. And what happens is, even if you have, even if you're in the prelims exam and you are attempting a DI, if that DI has 5 questions, make sure you attempt whatever 3 or 4 you can, and then move forward. Don't sit on that one question for 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and not end up doing 2-3 more questions in some other part of it. So make sure your selection of sets in DI, and also at the same time selection of question in each DI set, very much important. So a DI set might appear to be very easy in the prelims exam, but out of 5 questions, 4 are easy. One question requires you to do a lot of calculations. Skip it. Just forget it and skip it, because in that particular range of time, you can attempt maybe 2 or 3 questions, and again that question also gives you 1 mark. There you will get 3 marks. Now, there would be, like I said, there would be easy question in the most difficult set, and there would be most difficult question in very easy set. So you have to be very careful. Wherever you can use, you should use your approximation. You should use your percentage knowledge and basic concepts and calculations techniques. Only then you can hope to get good marks in the end. So how do you prepare? So it's very important for you to have multiplication tables up to 20. Now many students think we know tables till 20, but my experience is that students generally don't know a table up to 20. They think that they know. So you might know tables up till 10, 11, 12, but tables like 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, very important, very important, because that will help you to see the number and react to it. It's more like playing a sport where instinct, you let your instincts take over. You don't have to think too much. You just have to see the question, see the values, see the numbers, interaction of the numbers, and then attempt those questions. Again, squares and cubes very much important, especially from the point of view of your series. Squares and cubes are very much important. Then reciprocal values, fraction values, percentage to fraction and fraction to percentage, they should be used interchangeably. Like somebody asked you what is 16.66%, that is 1 by 6. So once you know all of these values, then only you can expect to do well. Complements of 100, so if I ask you what is complement of 100, so you need to know what, if you subtract that number by 100, what do you get? That is basically a complement of 100. For example, 69, the complement of 100 for 69 would be 31. So likewise. Percentage calculation, should be good at it. Quadratic comparison, very good with finding roots. Now you need to prepare all of these through concepts, and these concepts are very much required, because once you have a good concept going forward, shortcut techniques going forward, you would definitely attempt a lot of question in quants. But I have never seen somebody with bad calculation in cracking the exam. No, it will never happen, because this exam would definitely check you on plenty of things. It will not just check you on concepts, it will also check you on your calculation skills and calculation techniques. So that is much required. So if you look at the new question types for quantitative ability, you would see there is a lot of data sufficiency based data interpretation. So now data interpretation also coming data sufficiency based. Then you will have quant based data interpretation, like we discussed, quant based DI, that you have of different topics, topic based DI, that we also call. Then you have filling the blanks based questions. So you'll have generally a question, arithmetic question with two filling the blanks, and you have to see what possible values you can have multiple answers also, and there would be an option which says both A and B, or all A, B, and C. So you have to be very careful with those. Then you have caselet based quant questions. So you will have a small caselet on partnership or ratios or percentages and questions based on that. If you look at the if you move to the English language, you would see there are different topics that appear in both prelims and mains exam. Reading comprehension, you can see it dominates in the mains exam. Uh, 35 questions out of 35 questions, around 20 questions are for reading comprehension. Closed test, again, it appears both in prelims and mains. Paraforming questions, you can see they appear mainly in mains. Then filling the blanks, they can appear both in prelims and mains. Match the column generally comes in prelims if they have to. Synonym, antonyms, and sentence starter, again, they appear in the mains. So then there's a word interchange, can come in both prelims and mains. Word usage generally is in prelims. Word replacement, both prelims and mains. Error identification, grammatical errors, generally prelims, because it's easy, and you can, but you can expect in mains also, surely. Then you have to find out which is the grammatically correct sentence. Again, it's a prelims approach. Then you have a phrase replacement and sentence rearrangement. So there are some topics which are important for both prelims and mains, like reading comprehension. Again, reading comprehension gets the lion's share in the mains exam in English section, but also in prelims exams appear. Again, para jumbled sentences and filling the blanks and grammatical error questions, that appears in both prelims and mains exam. Some topics like closed test, match the column, sentence rearrangement, word interchange, words usage, and sentence starters generally are simple questions. They don't appear in the mains exam, but you can expect them for the prelims exam only. And then there are questions like odd one out, or para completion question, or multiple errors, word replace, anything that will take you a lot of time, anything that would require you to solve it exhaustively, that will take time. So that will appear only in the mains exam. Yeah. So if you look at the strategy and tips for English language, I believe we should always start with the closed passage. Start with the closed passage. These are easiest to attempt. Then attempt the filling the blanks, because again, standalone question and you can answer them correctly, and you can have good confidence going forward. You will have a lot of momentum. RC should be attempted next, but usme bhi you have to ensure that easy questions plus the vocab-based questions should be attempted first. Grammar or sentence starters, depending on how comfortable you are in those topics, then you should attempt them. So, the questions which are, lengthy or time taking, like para completion question or theme of passage, para forming questions, odd man out, all of these should be attempted at last, because again, this would require a lot of time, and you need to ensure that you have done some bit of your, attempts before you attempt those questions, because you might end up on the, shortage of time. So you have to ensure that you attempt close passage, filling the blanks, RC easier questions in RCs, and then grammatical question followed by all of these lengthy questions. So how you should prepare for your English language? Focus on vocabulary. Trust me, students, vocabulary is one thing which will always help you. So whenever you are preparing vocabularies, try and learn new words. Try and learn their usage, because all of these things will not help you just in the reading comprehension, which forms a lot of part in the mains exam, but also will help you with synonym antonym question, with your close test, with your filling the blanks. All of these things will be better. And even in RC passages, you get some vocab based questions, so that will also help in that. Practice and implement in vocab based question types. Like we said, reading comprehension, if you have to improve, there is only one way, which is read, read, and read. See, I understand English is a not a natural language to most of us, but even if that is the case, this exam requires you to read a lot, because there would be a lot of questions, especially in mains, where you could read, like critical reasoning question, like RC questions, like paraforming question, odd one out, theme of passage. So all of these questions require you to read, and you need to get comfortable with reading. You can, make sure that you read every day at least 30 to 40 minutes. You can read editorials, you can read online newspaper, you can read magazines, books, you can read novels, whatever that suits you and whatever helps you in the preparation. Yeah, so focus on economy or banking based passage, because this will help you not just build your economy and banking knowledge, but also help you to come in terms with the different terminologies used. Improve the reading speed, that is required. Grammar, do not just by heart rules. Most of the students make this mistake of, in grammar they they kind of cram the rules. You need to know the practical usage. You need to know the exception of those rules. You need to know their use, practical examples. If you can relate it with examples, and then that will help you. Yeah, so like I said, practical application of these are very much required. So there are some new question types. Again, if you do an analysis of the English language section, there are some new question types that were appeared in English language as well. So in reading comprehension, the trend has been with small passages with paragraph numbers, and with paragraph numbers with one sentence in bold. So they have given you paragraph and one sentence in bold, and all of these things have been appearing. Then you have closed test suggestion words for blank. Then you have two words per blank. All of these things have appeared. So you need to carefully look at the previous year question papers to understand what is the new pattern. So you can expect that pattern to continue for at least 1 or 2 more years. Then in paraforming questions, they're giving you a sentence D or C fixed, and then 5 sentences jumbled, and one odd one out, and then 7 sentences with fifth sentence fixed. So they're kind of giving you a puzzling kind of paraforming question, where one sentence is fixed, you have to find out the other sentences. Filling the blanks, again, the new pattern is with two blanks, one sentence, and one word per blank. So there are different permutation combination that has been going on to see that how they can make the paper interesting, kind of, and they need to see you how you react to. So SBI PO and IBPS PO both introduce something newness into the paper every time that they conduct the exam. So we can go with all our strategy, but you need to ensure that whatever we have prepared, we are in the right frame of mind to you know to not just react but also proact to whatever that is thrown to us in the exam. So there might be a new question type that appears in this year's IBPS or ISBIPO exam. So you need to prepare with this thought in mind. Okay, I can attempt those if my basics are correct. See, in all of these things, it's like serving same wine in the new bottle. Everything is same. The concepts remain the same. It's just the pattern changes. So you need to not get surprised by it, but try and circumvent it by staying ahead. Then there is in error identification also, you would see there are multiple errors, and you have to identify sometimes the grammatically correct sentence. So they don't want you to identify the grammatically wrong sentence but grammatically correct sentence. So again, it again requires you to have good grammar knowledge. So nothing new, just that they are not asking you to find out the wrong sentence but the right sentence. Phrase replacement, so 3 possible changes. Situation analysis, match the sentence and situation with the tone. Word interchange and match the column. These are all the new type of questions that are. Now, going forward, if you look at the GA and the economy and the banking section, see GA, this banking awareness section doesn't appear in the prelims exam. It always appears in the mains exam. And how do you prepare for it? We'll just run through this. How you need to see in GA. Again, you would be given 5 options. You have to read the complete question and you have to understand the question and look at, try and eliminate the option. If you can eliminate some options, then that will help you. And the GA, you will get sufficient time, but try and attempt single liners question in the first round. You don't have to attempt like 3-4 line question. You attempt a single liner question in first round. Obviously, you can always come back for the second and third rounds. Then attempt doable questions in the second round. Then please do not resort to guesswork. It is a totally big no. Because if GA section is such, if you're not getting an answer, you say, okay, I have heard this, I have the hunch that it might be answer. But if you end up doing this, you will lose out on some pretty useful marks. There would be negative marking that would be in place, and that would cost you whatever good thing that you have done in the other section. So guesswork, you should ensure that you don't resort to guesswork. Make sure you resort to good preparation levels, read GA extensively, and try and be ahead of the examinations. How do you prepare for GA? So essentially, newspapers are the main criteria where you can read. Any good English newspaper will definitely help you. So like we mentioned, the Hindu or the Times of India. If you are new to reading, then I would suggest Times of India. If you are an avid reader, then try and read the Hindu as well. See, what do you read in these? You read news editorials, you read business and economic news, you read your sports page. And when you read editorials, you get a lot of opinions, you get a lot of good vocabulary, you also get the hang of the language, like we call the feel of the language. Then there might be situation that in a grammatical error situation, you might know that this is the answer, you might not know the reason or the rule behind it, but because you have read so extensively, you would know that okay, has should be used or have should be used or had should be used, that you can work it out. So again, you can read any one monthly magazine of current affairs. Generally, at time we provide monthly magazines. Monthly magazine helps you to give you a roundup of not the GA and economy news. That will help you in your exam, but also help you to build your vocabulary and reading comprehension. Then at least current affairs for last 8 to 9 months should be prepared, and special emphasis should be given on 3 to 4 months. Now, of late in some exams, GA has been appearing a little tougher. So you need to ensure that you just don't read the headlines, but also read the fine blueprint inside it, which means they are asking you the second line of questions. They won't ask you just where did Narendra Modi went to which country, but also they can ask you the currency of that country or the capital of that country or where did the summit took place, right? Or who is the president or prime minister of that country. So you need to be very much equipped with this, all of these. And once you read the fine print between the headlines, below the headlines, then you would see that you are up to date with this. Yeah, so more emphasis should be given to Indian economy and banking awareness section, and current affairs and stock are these the main important questions. So they can also ask you definition, abbreviation from topics of Indian economy and banking. So you can definitely refer to a good book for Indian economy and banking and ensure that you read all the abbreviation and the definitions and institutions of Indian economy and all of those things. So generally, events which have been consistently repeating in the news, they should be a focus. So it can be right now maybe the fuel prices, or maybe the farmer bills, or maybe the situation in Kashmir, or maybe anything relating to whatever has been appearing in news and making headlines. They are likely to ask you some question based on that. Right. Let's move forward. So how can so computer knowledge generally you can rely on last push papers and just see what kind of basic questions are asked. A book by Clear publication is also very good. You can revise thoroughly through the material provided by time. We generally give a lot of good handouts on computers. Also, generally these questions are repeated, so they don't have any new question that come up. So if you prepare from last 4 5 years of question papers, you see what kind of questions have appeared. That will help you. And obviously, you would have studied a little bit of computer, maybe in your graduation, maybe in your schooling days. So that will help you if your latest computer technology you're aware with that. That will help you going forward. Yes. If we look at the study plan, you need to start early. That is very much required. See, if you start early, you stay ahead, because this can be a long preparation, because there is a lot of competition that is involved. There's a lot of things to be covered. So if you're fresh to this preparation, you need to start early. So even if you're at your first year or second year of graduation, I would suggest start preparing for banking exams, because you would have your terminals exams in between and the final exam, so that you would need a break then. So if you're prepared, and once your time comes after your graduation or during your graduation to appear for these exams, you would definitely be in a frame of mind, and you just need to focus on giving mocks. So you need to go steady, and need to pace your preparation. So don't measure your preparation by number of hours. Definitely, it's a criteria, but you can kind of slow start, and then move ahead with number of hours. You need to plan your preparation. Everybody will have their own plan in terms of what kind of topics they need to cover and how they would want to cover. So have a good planning in place. Focus on building concepts. If you are starting off, make sure you build your concepts. Don't focus on just random shortcuts. That will help you only if your concepts are strong. The shortcuts will come along. You don't have to worry about shortcuts, but you need to build your concepts. There is no substitute to 3 P's ever: practice, practice, and more practice. Once you practice a lot of questions based on your concepts, it will get clearer. You will find more ways of doing a particular question. You can practice from study material booklets that time provide, and also sectional tests. So we provide sectional tests also. The sectional tests help you for your online ID, such that once you have prepared a particular topic, say you have done your profit and loss partnership topic, you can do questions from the study material booklet, also from the handouts that we provide in the class, and at the same time you can write your sectional test also. So you cover specific topics, and specific topics can be covered, and you can see what kind of questions have appeared in the exam and how you are doing in those questions. You need to have a clear-cut analysis of your strong and weak areas. See, everybody won't be strong in all areas. You need to identify what are your areas which can fetch you marks, and what are the weak areas where you need to consolidate. So make sure you don't neglect your weak areas, but you ensure that those weak areas are dealt with, so that if easy question appears in those areas, you can definitely answer it. Yeah. So consolidate your sin, improve on your weak areas. Right. So once you are done with basics, so like we said, focus on concept, build basics, you start early, all of those things. Once you are done with building basics, focus on building speed, because ultimately this exam will test you on speed. Not just in the prelims exam, but also in the mains exam. I also always maintain in my classes that you need to have good speed for easier question at least, so that you can spare out more time for the difficult question in mains. And once you do that, you will see you will end up doing 4 or 5, 6 question more, and that is the crucial difference between clearing your mains exam and actually getting the final merit test. So once you're done with your basic preparation, start writing mocks, both online and paper based, and start analyzing those mocks. So write prelims mocks, that is 1 hour mock, or a mains mock, which is 2.5, 3 hours mock. Write those mocks, analyze, make an analysis of what kind of question you are getting wrong, how much time you're spending on particular section, particular topic question, so that if you need to revise those topics, go back and then revise and then come back stronger. So you need to do a lot of analysis. It might happen that you are doing a lot of question with a lot of good accuracy, but your attempts not increases, or your attempts are increasing but you're making silly mistake, or your selection of question is not good. There can be X number of scenarios for every other person. So you need to ensure what is your analysis, and talk to your mentors, eat their brains as to how you can maximize your attempts and consolidate your score. Definitely you should attend regular mock discussion, revision, or workshop classes, because those classes helps you to revise the topics, main aspects of those topics, and obviously you will end up doing good question. And obviously you can always discuss with mentors your strategy of writing a particular exam, how you approach it, what areas you are finding difficult, right? All of those things. Be result oriented. See, just don't think that this is an exam and I'll write it and I'll clear. You need to be very clear about your result, where you want to go, and you need to be strategizing it all at all times, and I need to score well in mains. Yeah, for that you need to understand the weightage of the question, the difficulty level of the question. Like we said, in Quant section you have 35 questions and 60 marks, so there would be questions which are of 2 marks. So you need to ensure that those questions are dealt with in a proper way, so that you can maximize. So you need to do a lot of analysis as to how you will clear your cutoffs. So yeah, so new question types and few last year question papers. If you look at the patterns, you can find new question types. Like we discussed the new question types in all the three areas. So you need to focus on that as well. This is also very important. You need to spend time for vocabulary in GA every day. Now GA is something that is generally students keep it for I'll study after prelims exam. Like we said, you get a 20 days window. It is very difficult for you to prepare, last 6 months GA in that span of time, and also to write your mock and to improve the difficulty level, increase the difficulty level of quants and reasoning section. So trust me, you need to, whenever you start your preparation, you're giving 4 or 5 months, 3 months, make sure you start reading your GA every day, because GA will take some time, because it's you have to, you will forget a lot of things, so you need to revise those things going back. And same with vocabulary also takes time to remember, and then there is a lot of, you know you might forget something after if you have not revised it, so you have to make sure you do it every day. So if you look at the cutoffs for the last year, this window gives you the cutoffs for the last years. So it also gives you the year 2029, 2020, 2019, and 2018 cutoffs for reasoning, English, and quant section for both the prelims and section individually, and also general general and other category wise cutoffs for prelims exam overall. So you can see around 60 marks, you can be less assured in if you get 60, 62, 65 marks, definitely your overall cutoff would be clear. But at the same time, you need to be well wary of the fact that you have to clear the individual sectional cutoffs as well. So this gives you the IBPS PO main section wise cutoff for year 2018, 2019, and 2020. Like you can see, the in 2020 you have only 6 marks cutoff for reasoning and computer aptitude, and general awareness is 9.75, English is 11.58, and so you see in 1980, 2018 and 19, you look at the quants cutoff, generally 5, 4. So you can understand the kind of difficulty level paper it is, and at the same time you have to ensure that you do well. So you need to make sure that, but the English cutoff definitely are in excess of 10 most of the time. So you have to ensure the sectional cutoff and usually overall cutoff section. If you look at the IPS PO mains overall qualifying marks out of 225 marks, 225 marks, so that if you look at, uh, you will have 83.5 last year cutoff, right? For other categories, like for scheduled private is 52.25, SC 66.8. So you need to have a basic idea about the cutoff. You don't get worried about the cutoff. You need to have a basic idea of those cutoffs. Yeah, so online and physical classes we have started with at time. So at time we provide both the online course as well as classroom coaching, and all the centers are now open. I think you can approach those centers or you can take the class online as well. So if you look at the classroom course, uh, this is the kind of offering that we give, right? So you have a library and a computer lab facility, paper-based mocks, online mocks, everything that we give. So if you get 130 mocks, 180 mocks, there's a lot of stuff that you can do online. Right. So this is the online course summary. If you look at the pricing, very competitive, and the number of classes that you get, and the kind of videos and study material booklets, along with mock test. So if you look at a 1 year course, you get 130 mock tests and sectional tests also, topic-wise sectional tests. And then validity is 18 months, and the course fees is not much, and the number of classes 250 hours. So there's a lot of things that you can achieve online as well, because post-COVID we need to take care of that as well. Right, I'll take some questions now if you have any. I'll just have a look at the window. I can see what kind of questions if you have any. Yeah, so Sahil asks, can we start doing now and crack the exam? Sure, Sahil. See, it's not late. It is late, let me be honest, but it's not too late. If you give your 100% now and you understand the pattern of the exam and just try and prepare well, I think you can clear this exam. Because it is very important for you to understand that this exam is not just about your intelligence skills, but it's also about your mental aspect, how you approach the exam. Like we discussed, this strategy kind of things. So all of these things are required. So you can definitely crack the exam if you get the right mentorship and you know happen to have the right material at your disposal and you start preparing. Definitely you can crack. Rose is asking, please show the last slide of quant preparation in English. Yeah, sure. I'll just check it out. Is this exam easier than SBI? Yes, Valencia. This exam is definitely easier than SBI because SBI PO actually has lesser number of seats, more competition, and also the mains of SBI PO is quite difficult in this. Also, the interview process. So this exam is definitely easier than SBI. Yeah. So Rose, this is your preparation for English slide. You were asking for this. Yeah. So this is this. There it goes. You just have a look at the English slide. Right. Any other questions that you may have? Uh, just a second. What's the questions? Yeah. So how many hours is required for us to as I start preparation now? If you start the preparation now, I think you need to give at least 5 to 6 hours every day. 6 hours is good enough. If you prepare 6 hours and you try and get a good study plan working out for you and be disciplined, do not make this mistake of doing only one section. Make sure you do all the section every day. At least give half an hour to 1 hour for reading and GA, and then practicing quants and reasoning question. You can definitely. So please show quants preparation last slide too. Oh yeah, Rose, sure. I'll just. Yeah. So this is your preparation for quants aptitude. You can have a look at it. Yeah, Sharon, I think it answers your question. You need to have at least 6 hours, which is more easy. Obviously, Shamita, IBPS clerk is easier because IBPS clerk is easier because the kind of difficulty level you see in IBPS clerk is definitely easier than this PO. This recording would be available to you pretty soon, Sharon. I think it will be uploaded by tomorrow, so you can definitely access our YouTube channel and just go through that. Yeah, Rose, I think it is Rose Thomas. If you can hear me, I think it is clear now. Quantitative aptitude new question types. Is there anything that you would also want to ask? Okay, sir, are you giving IBPS PO crash? Yes, we are offering IBPS PO crash course. Surely we have that offering. You can contact your nearest time center or you can approach us online. We are definitely providing IBPS PO crash course. Just that you need to attend a lot of classes in that so that you can cover your syllabus. Definitely it is achievable. Trust me, if you have the right mindset, if you have the right strategy in place, right mentorship, and the right material, and because I might teach you the basics, but it will definitely when it will be starting online, batches are starting. If you access the website, you would see the batch start date is also given. Batches are regularly starting every week, every 4 days, 5 days. Batches start. So online it is starting surely. You can see the website and understand what kind of dates are available. If you have time center near you, they can definitely approach those center and then get it sorted for you. I hope that answers your question. Right. Any more questions that you may have? Right. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and I hope this session is pretty useful for you. Yeah. Do we have crash course in this month? Yes, Arpita, we have a crash course. Please approach the nearest time center or approach us online with time website www.timeforeducation.com. There you would find all the details regarding the crash course. We have started the batches yesterday also. Yes, we have online. Arpita, we definitely have online. We have online courses. Like I gave you this slide for the online courses. I just go through the slide once more. So this is the online offering that we have. This is the online offering. This is it. Yeah. So this, if you can see, this is the online offering that we have. And these courses are starting every second day, right? So you can attempt, you can just go through those courses. Right, Arpita? I hope that answers your question. Right, Arpita. Right, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this session is useful, and you can visit our Time for Education YouTube channel, where Time for Bank, and you can definitely see a lot of good stuff happening there. We have posted a lot of videos regarding strategy and tricks, so you can definitely. And we also conduct workshops, and there is a talent scholarship exam that is coming up for banking. If you happen to write those exams, you can get a good scholarship as well. Thank you so much. So which subject is easier to score more marks? I think GA, general awareness, is the easiest section. You score heavily, but for that we need to have a good preparation, Shiva, because that section can be a game changer along with English. In mains exam, reasoning and maths will give you only this much advantage, but GA and English section, that will give you great advantage. But you need to have a lot of good preparation for that. So that is the easiest section in my view. Yes, Shivam. I hope you are good with English and GA. So I think that's the area. Right? Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, Shamita. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.